along the crowd line now. A little bit of aviation training history here at Air.
So the Bulldog, furthest away from you, Chipmunk, and again, both of these aeroplanes designed to do the same job. We'll talk you through the differences between them. Chipmunk, incredibly long Royal Air Force service. In fact, you could say it's still going on. There are 2 Chipmunks used for conversion training by the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight at Coningsby. Perfect as a tail dragger to get you into the Hurricanes and the Spitfires. And the Chipmunk had the most unenviable job of all in the mid-40s. Prototype first flew in 1946. It was to replace what people thought was the impossible. To replace the de Havilland Tiger Moth biplane, the venerable trainer from the mid-30s onwards. But it did it. And the Chipmunk took in all of the training, all of the ideas about the pupil-instructor relationship, and came up with an all-metal monoplane, as you see it now. Again, turning like this with the least powerful aeroplane on the outside of the arc, this is challenging.
Well, Steve's co-owner with Joe Willis, his other half, I'd say better half. And this aeroplane, the Chipmunk, was built in 1952, entered service in 1953 at Whitewater, and spent the best part of 40 years as a training aircraft with air experience and basic training. It's based at Biggin Hill, the famous old fighter station down in Kent, in the equally famous Shipping and Airlines hangar, where it's maintained meticulously and flown for leisure, pleasure and your delight this afternoon in tandem with the Scottish Aviation Bulldog. Ken, you got some words on that. I know you know the Bulldog pretty well.
Well, we're talking produced en masse here at Prestwick, Scottish Aviation. Now, of course, became BAE Systems, and I suppose you would call the aerospace system up there at the moment, whose name has just gone from me, we'll back in a moment, is the follow-on of the heritage of Scottish Aviation. Scottish Aviation, of course, a legendary concern. Lots of people in the crowd will have worked for them or know of them. Now, the Bulldog came along as the replacement for the Chipmunk, but they actually changed the entire design concept, ignoring it's still all metal.
They look the exact same,
the same sort of performance. But the Chipmunk, the classic military trainer, tandem, student in the front, instructor in the back. The Bulldog, because it was descended from the Beagle Pup, a civilian touring aeroplane built in Sussex, the Pup, side by side. My flying training was on side by side, and my flying instructor always said it was far better because that way he could see the mistakes I was making and slap me. I should point out that I thought he was wonderful and that other instructors are available.
Well, it's a bit of a shout out here at the Scottish International Air Show. I've been asked to give a mention to Raymond. Raymond is a firefighter at Prestwick, and I understand he's here with his family, and we're dedicating this display to you, Raymond, and your family. Great work you do as a fire officer at the airport, and you always have to hurry up and wait. Well, here's a lovely sight of these 2 stalwarts of the past. Different engines, of course, Ken.
Yes, 200 horsepower Lycoming IO 360. The Bulldog gives it about 150 miles per hour top speed. Chipmunk, you're talking 145 horsepower de Havilland Gypsy Major, and inverted inline. Again, In the sky in front of us, the progression of Royal Air Force trainers. Later today, we're going to see the latest of the Royal Air Force basic trainers, the Grob Tutor.
Still very much in service, the de Havilland Gypsy Major engine. You can still buy them in brackets off the shelf. A lot of aircraft still all over the world. De Havilland built literally thousands of aircraft, 30s, 40s and 50s. And of course we had the Commonwealth in those days, and they were aircraft sold to the Commonwealth to train other air forces. And still, quite a few still in flying condition today. There's a lovely view of the Chippy and the Bulldog there. There was a huge sale of chipmunks about, gosh, it must be about 35 years ago, when the RAF disposed of literally hundreds, and they went all over the place.
Snapped up left, right and centre.
They were indeed. I remember seeing some at Duxford lined up.
And it's important to remember that it was a really across-the-board trainer. Royal Navy had them, and the Army Air Corps. And so everybody started their flying career in that amazing machine. Then on with the Bulldog. The Bulldog, although run under Royal Air Force elementary flying training schools, the Navy and the Army Air Corps entered into it, and that's how they all got the start of a career again.
I can certainly remember getting hit over the back of a head with a clipboard when I was flying the Chipmunk. It's a better seat to be in, to hit the student and make them remember what they should be doing. Good aeroplane, the Bulldog. I've also got a few hours in that. It's heavier, little more updated cockpit, more sophisticated controls, as one would expect with a later developed aeroplane, a little faster, a little more powerful. And as Ken rightly said, superseded by the Grob Tutor, which hopefully we're seeing at the Airshow later today.
Now, trainers, everybody gets the impression trainers are going to be really forgiving. It's not how you teach, is it?
Absolutely not. Remember my first spin, didn't know what was going on. Didn't know me what's it from the elbow for about a week.
So we're working on the basis here that if it bites, you're going to learn far more than if it solves the problem for you.
What the pilot also learns, I think, Ken, when learning aerobatic and operational style flying, is to trust the aeroplane. That's the key thing. That if you put the correct control input in, the aeroplane will respond, and it will take you out of, for example, an inverted spin, or you falling out of a loop. You have to trust your judgment, but ultimately trust the aeroplane itself.
Now, as you explained before, Steve, he's made his steps through into commercial flying. Rod, I don't think you mind me saying he's the pilot's pilot, the one most respected on air displays, and should we say he's been around a while?
Yep. He looks a bit like Father Christmas these days, but fantastic CV, ex-Royal Air Force of course, and highly respected in the aviation world, very knowledgeable.
21 years on fast jets, Hunters, Jaguars and Hawks. In 1984 he turned to Warbirds, Mustangs, Spitfires, you name it, and he's being a totally non-commercial person. He leant on me this morning and said, mention the book. So I'm mentioning the book. It's published by Grub Street. It's available now. You can get it on a well-known book trading webby thingy, and it's called 50 Years Flying Fun. And I have to say, it's one of the most absorbing autobiographies I've ever read. And I know I'm not on a commission.
Steve tells me the Chipmunk is pretty well as original as she was first built in 1952. The paint scheme is original RAF livery. The only thing he tells me that's changed is the new upgraded avionics, or radios as we better know them as. And any real geeky geeks out there will know that this year all aircraft must be fitted with 8.33 spacing radio band. There's a real bit of geeky knowledge for you. Trying to out-geek.
You're going to have to run that past me again.
That's to do with the spacing of the frequency, because more frequencies are being needed in aviation, more aircraft are flying, more airports are being built, so there are less frequencies to go round. So the authorities have introduced a 6-digit 8.33 megahertz spacing. I know that's getting very technical now, but that's the reason for new avionics in the aeroplane.
Megahertz, that's car hire, isn't it? Car hire.
I can't play that.
No, Ken. See me afterwards. I'll put you straight.
Whatever plane I get, that one's cost, that one's good.
I thought Hertz Van Rental was a Dutchman, but I can't go any further than that.
Doesn't happen.
Do it again, press again.
I'm trying to trick my mum. I know it's free, but that was costing me.